All right, guys, your first activation is going to be your wall T-spine rotations. So Anna's going to be on an RX pad. She's got her front knee at 90 degrees, her back knee at 90 degrees with her toe in the ground. Her right knee is against the wall, as well as her right hand and shoulder. So what she's going to do is rotate that right hand up and around, making sure to keep her eye on her hand as she moves. So do this in a nice controlled motion, and we're really focusing on that upper thoracic spine rotation. So the rest of your body should remain still throughout this and really just seeing the rotation in the top spine. This is your second mobility drill. This is going to be your lumbar knee rock. So Anna's going to be on the ground. She's going to lay back. She's going to get her knees at about 45 degrees. And we're just going to rock the knees left to right. So back and forth, similar to the other drill, except this time we're focusing on that lower lumbar spine, rotating left and right. Make sure you're not feeling any pain when you're going to each side, okay? We want to definitely move in a comfortable range of motion. And nice passive stretch as we drop those knees from left to right. Your third mobility drill is your 90-degree hip rotations. So Anna's going to get down into the position which is getting both of your knees at 90 degrees. So you kind of have to shift your feet around a little bit until you get that angle. So 90 degrees at the front knee, 90 degrees at the back. And what we're going to do from here is try to rotate into your next position and land with your knees again at that 90-degree position. So we're rotating back, letting that knee drop, both knees, and then going back into that position. So this may be tough, especially if you have tight hip flexors. So Anna's going to show a variation where you support yourself with your hands back and do that same movement. So you got your hands behind you and you can rotate the hips left and right, making sure to drop both knees to the ground and try to get into that 90-degree position with both knees. Okay, the first exercise for our day one activation is lateral band walks. So we're going to try to activate the glutes here. So we're going to be in this powerful kind of athletic stance throughout the movement. So we're going to put our mini band right around our midfoot, get some good tension on that, have a slight bend at your hips, slight bend at your knees with your chest up, and then we're going to step laterally. So we're going to step out, and then in a controlled motion, bring the other foot in. So out, in, making sure that the hips, one doesn't come higher than the other. We stay in that position throughout the movement. Out, in, so we're going to go 10 steps right, and then come back the other way, left. So the most important thing is to keep it controlled. Don't let that foot come into the other one really quickly, and control the movement. Activation number 2 for day one is going to be your banded thoracic rotation, which is important, keeping tension between your shoulder blades as you're going through your golf swing. So we're going to get a band just like this, get down in our athletic position again, or your down golf position. Put some tension outward on that band and keep your hands nice and wide just like this, and rotate to your right and to your left and back again, maintaining that tension on the band throughout. Okay guys, your third activation for day one is going to be your Paloff press with pelvic tilt. So what you're going to do is grab your anchor here, take a few steps out to get tension on it just like this. So the important part and why we put pelvic tilt into it is because that's the position of your pelvis that you want to be in to activate what most people call your core. So what you're going to do is make sure before you get into this, you can put your hands just like this and tilt back. So that's it right there. Engage your core. Hold this right to your chest. Get in your nice athletic position. Press out. Straight ahead of you. Hold for 5 seconds. Bring it back. And then back out. So we're going to do that for the reps specified in your program. And make sure that you're controlling that. That anchor is going to want to pull you back in towards the unit. And that's what we're doing here, is just resisting and working on that core stability. Okay guys, so this is your first power workout, working on plyometric development here. So this is your jump squat to a single leg land with skater jump. So that's a little bit long version for basically jumping up in the air, sticking, and making sure that we really have a controlled landing. Don't worry about getting the height if you don't have the stability when you come down on that single leg. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump up, stick the landing, and then explode out, just like that. So we're going to do that in both directions. I believe we're 6 reps for each. So again, in that nice athletic position, we jump up, stick the landing, and then fire right out. So jump, stick the landing, fire it out. Hey guys, so workout number 2 in your power section is going to be the med ball skip angle toss. So this is going to be developing power inside of that swing. It's a very sport specific movement, but it's extremely important adding club head speed and power into the ball. So in a lot of instructional videos, you'll see guys or girls talk about getting into a skip position. So kind of like this, where you're rotating the hip forward, tucking that elbow, and getting ready to skip a rock across the pond. Working on getting that club face into this position, ready for impact, and then pushing out kind of at that 1 o'clock position. So to replicate that, we're going to take your med ball, you're going to get down in a nice athletic stance. Don't go too heavy on this, especially not for your first reps. So you're going to get here, you're going to rotate back into your back position, getting that elbow tucked and rotating that right hand underneath the ball. So we're going to go here into this position, and from here we want to work on that power movement. So we're coming back, and then we're going to rotate forward. Starts with the hips, and slam the ball down and try to angle it out at that 1 o'clock position. Okay guys, so this is going to be your first core workout in your day 1 of your program. So this is your RFE, or rear foot elevated split squat with a row. So we're going to work on core muscle group, your legs, your glutes, and also stability through the movement. So what we're going to do is set up our anchor at about hip height, just like this. We're going to have a bench or a box, whatever works for you, behind us. And I like to set up an RX pad just so we're not dropping that knee to the floor. So the first thing we're going to do is get that foot up and drop down to the bottom position so we can adjust our front foot. Get the front knee at about 90 degrees, and you're going to be going up on the toe of your rear foot. So what we're going to do is press through the heel, stand up, pull back, go extended, drop down, up, and back, just like that. Okay guys, so this is going to be paired with your day 1 core exercise. So this is going to be a plank with hip dips. So we're going to get down. I like to put an RX pad down here. We're going to get down into our low plank position. So forearms on the ground here, making sure you have a nice straight line from your elbow to your shoulder. Going to go back up into the top position here. Again, nice straight line from elbow to shoulder, and also from shoulder to hip to ankle. So we're in a nice straight line, making sure that core is engaged. And what we're going to do from here is just dip each hip down to the side in a nice controlled movement. Okay guys, so this is your first accessory lift in your day 1 program. We're going to be doing your single leg hip bridge. So we're going to set up a bench or a box, preferably padded. We're going to get down just like this, resting our arms out to the side. It's important to drive your heel into the ground with this, so we can actually leave our toe up, so we're getting a little bit more of that posterior chain and glute activation while we go through the movement. So it's all about that top position. The closer you bring in your foot, you're going to be working more of the glutes. The further out, you're going to be working more of the hamstrings. So we kind of want to be right in between, so that at the top position, our legs at basically a 90-degree angle. So we start here. The opposite foot is going to be off the ground throughout the movement. So we're going to drive up, squeeze that glute. Make sure you have a straight line from your shoulder to your hip to your knee. Control down, tap your butt, right back up. Down and up. Okay guys, so this is going to be your second movement in the accessory part of your day 1 lift. This is a dumbbell chest press. So we got our bench set up here. We got 1 dumbbell, and we're going to rotate back and get into your kind of bench press position. So make sure your feet are on the floor, nice and flat. You're going to have that core engaged. Don't have any arc in your back as you're going through this movement. So we're going to lean back. Elbow should be at like 45 degrees in respect to the rib cage there. And we're going to just pull this down. Again, this wants to pull us to the side, so we're bracing. We have the core engaged. We're going to drop down and then go right back up. Down, right back up. Okay guys, so for your day 2 first activation, what we're going to do is your banded hip thrust. So we're going to find a spot on the floor. We're going to get down, seated position, and throw on your band just below the kneecap on both legs, just like this. So we're going to go back, Gonna reach out. You have your feet so that at your top position, again, your knees are gonna be at 90 degrees. So this band is obviously creating inward pressure on the knees. So you're gonna drive out against that. So slightly wider than hip, shoulder width. And we're gonna drive up, squeeze your glutes at the top. Nice straight line from your shoulders to your hip to your knee. Drop back down, touch the butt, and right back up. Make sure you're activating the glutes at the top and throughout the entire movement. All right, guys, for your second activation for day 2, we're going to do your high plank banded reach. So what we're going to do is put the band right around your wrist just like this, and we're going to get down into a high plank position. So with the high plank, as always, keep the core engaged, keep that posterior pelvic tilt, tipping the hips forward just like this when you're in the position. You get the band around the wrist just like this, going down, nice push-up position. Hands are right below the shoulders just like this. And what we're going to do is move the hand in, then out, in, then out, resisting that band, trying to pull the hands together. So we're going in, out, out. Make sure you're maintaining that posture throughout and keeping that core engaged. All right, guys, so this is your third activation in day 2. This is going to be your side plank with reach through. So I'm going to demonstrate on my right side. You're going to be doing this on both your right and left side. I like to put an RX pad down, especially if you're working on turf here. So we can drop it down. We're going to get first into our plank position. So straight line from chin to the center of your stomach, all the way down to your feet. And what we're going to do is actually reach through. So getting some of that rotational movement that you see in your golf swing. So we're going to reach that hand under, rotate till the chest points down to the ground, and then come right back through. Make sure you're doing this in a nice controlled motion all the way through the range of movement. Okay, so this is your first power movement of day 2. This is going to be your lateral waist belt jumps. So what we're going to do is put on your ANCORE waist belt or any waist belt that you have that you can attach to. So we're going to walk over here, drop your ANCORE to about hip height, and then attach. So we're going to get a few steps out just to get some resistance here. Get down into your athletic position. What we're going to do is explode laterally to the side. So we're driving off that inside leg and jumping out and then walking slowly back. Right when we get back to this position, explode back out and have a controlled walk back in. This is your second power movement of day 2. This is going to be your overhead or OH med ball slam. So we're going to drop down into a split squat stance here. We're going to have 10-pound med ball or do whatever is kind of comfortable with you guys. Definitely don't want to go too heavy. We're trying to get speed out of this movement, and you don't have to go heavy for that. So we're going to start here. We're going to lift that back knee off the ground about 3 to 4 inches. Start with the ball on our right side for this position, over the head, and slam. Catch it, turn, and slam. This is your first core workout on day 2. So we're going to be doing our KB RDL or Kettlebell Romanian deadlift. If you aren't experienced doing deadlifts, you can leave this out of your program. Watch some more videos that we have on form of the deadlift. Definitely want to be conscious of your lower back. As a reminder, you should be feeling this in your glutes and your hamstrings, not that lower back area. We really want to avoid rounding the back as we go down. So also work with weight that is comfortable with you. So we're going to stand with this kettlebell right between our legs, just like this. Feet pointed slightly out, a little wider than shoulder width. Bend the knees, and we're going to drive those hips back, keeping the chest up. Grab your kettlebell, drive through, squeezing the glutes at the top. So drive down, nice controlled motion into the top. And from the side view, just so you guys can see the form on this, keeping that back again in a nice neutral position. Chest stays up, drop down, squeeze at the top, right back. This is your second core workout of day 2. This is going to be your WhatsThat rotation. So that's for the name of our WhatsThat strap. This is the 3D strap. If you don't have one of these at home, you can also use a handle, which I'll show here. So what we're going to do is lower our ANCORE to just about knee height. Just like that. Connect our strap. And for getting into position with this strap, what we're going to do is, if we're rotating to our left, we're going to put our right arm through all the way up to the armpit. Rotate 360 degrees so that this strap is kind of pulling down at hip angle here. And what we're going to do from here is rotate into a backswing. And similar to our med ball skip pass, we're going to drive our hips across like we're rotating into the downswing. Drive the hips across and come through, allowing that weight to pull us back into the position and then come through. So we really want to be driving off that back foot and focusing on the sequence of your hips rotating first, followed by the body. And like I said, if you'd like to do this without the WhatsThat strap, you put our handle on and hold it to that outside chest and kind of do a similar motion. You can let it extend at the bottom and rotate through. And we'll show you a side view of that as well now. Okay, so this is your first accessory lift for day 2. This is going to be our KB or kettlebell squat to press. So we're going to start by getting the right position on the KB. Slide your hands through, bring it up to your shoulder here, resting it on your wrist and shoulder, keeping those elbows nice and high. I'm going to be using a bench here just because that's good for beginners and especially for a preseason workout. If you feel more comfortable dropping past parallel to do your squat, you can go ahead and remove the bench. So we're going to get here in this position, nice and stable. These are just resting. Start by squeezing the glutes, drive up through the heels, press to the top, touch at the top, get back in this position, touch, and up. This is your second accessory lift on day 2. So this is going to be your kettlebell rotations or KB rotations. Again, don't go too heavy on this. We're going to be rotating around the spine and we're going to really be focusing on keeping that core engaged and maintaining good posture throughout this movement. And this is really working on that stability that's important throughout your golf swing. So we're going to pick up your KB, turn it upside down right in front of the chest, just like this. Again, getting that posterior pelvic tilt, squeezing your abs. We're going to rotate all the way around your head, back to neutral position, all the way around, back to neutral position, trying to have as little movement in the spine, neck, head as possible as we go around. So we're going to do that both directions, to the right and to the left. Okay, so this is your day 3 first activation. This is going to be your lateral band touches. So we're going to take our mini band and put it right around the midfoot, just like this. Get some nice width between your feet, about shoulder width apart, put some tension on the band. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be balancing on one leg at a time. So we'll start with the left here. You're going to let that band come in and then tap out at a 45-degree angle, just like this. Tap, come back, tap, come back, here. So try to maintain that athletic position while you're going through the motions and don't let that foot come quickly back towards the other one. Do it in a nice controlled motion, out and in. This is your second activation of day 3. This is our Serratus slides. So this is working on pulling those shoulders back, working on the postural muscles between your shoulder blades, which is important when you're getting your golf stance to have strength and stability in that section of your body, having control through the upper body. So what we're going to do is put your mini band right around your wrist like this. When we're up against the wall, we're going to pull it to just outside shoulder width, keeping your palms facing each other. So we're going to pull our shoulder blades back and down, stand against the wall, and in a nice controlled movement, raise all the way up, pressing into the wall with your elbows and forearms throughout the whole motion. This is your third activation for day 3. This is our dead bugs. We're going to show you in 2 different variations, one using the anchor and one without. So we're going to drop down. Again, this is a core exercise, so we really want to make sure in that posterior pelvic tilt, making sure our hips are tipped forward just like this, keeping your core engaged throughout the movement. So for the original dead bug, we're going to bring our knees up. We're going to be at 90 degrees at the hip and 90 degrees at the knee. Hands up in front of you, and we're dropping the opposite hand and opposite leg straight out while maintaining that engagement in the core. So we're dropping them out and coming back and alternating. there's any pain associated with that, you can bring your knees up. You can drop down just a foot and come back up, as long as you're keeping that foot just off the ground. And then if we bring the anchor into it, this will add some kind of rotational pull to it. So we're going to brace here, maintain that posture, drop this leg down, switch to the other. This is your first power exercise on day 3. These are going to be your anchor explosive rotations. So this is really working on speed throughout that plane of the golf swing. So we're going to start with right to left, rotating. Again, the sequence of your golf swing is going to start with the hips. So we really, when we begin the pull, start with the hips and come through just like you would coming through your driver swing. So we're going to go here, bring that anchor down to our side in kind of the back swing position, and then we're going to rotate through with power. So down, so do your best to keep balance and in good form throughout the movement, but really focus on speed. Don't go too heavy on the weight. Make sure it's not causing you any pain throughout the movement, and focus on your form. This is your second power exercise of day 3. We're going to be doing our split squat jumps. So this is a really important bilateral movement that's going to teach you how to develop power into the ground. Again, we want to focus on the explosive movement going up, not when we're landing. We want to land soft, bring that knee gently to the ground, and then explode up. So we're going to drop down in the split squat position, and from here, driving through that front heel and exploding as high as we can go, landing soft and switching. This is going to be your first core workout of day 3. This will be your upside down KB press. So we're going to be in a kneeling position, toes in the ground, core engaged, and we're going to grab your KB, turn it upside down, get that arm at 90 degrees, press up, come down nice and controlled, press up. This is your second core exercise of day 3. These are your banded goblet squats. So we're taking our mini band, we're going to put it down just below the kneecap on both legs. Get it squared away, grab our KB, and we're going to be holding in this goblet position, just like this. So let's get our feet slightly wider than shoulder width apart, keeping your chest up through the movement. We're going to drop down and be pressing against that band as we go down. So it's going to want to pull our knees in. We're going to press out, drop down into our squat, raise back up, drop down, make sure you're squeezing your glutes as you fire up, and squeeze at the top. Okay, so this is going to be our first accessory lift for day 3. This will be our Y with plates, even though I'll show you a variation without the plates as well. So this exercise is, again, working on the postural muscles between the shoulder blades. Really important to take these nice and slow and move through the correct range of motion. As you go up, we want those shoulder blades to rotate down and in, just like this. So if you feel them winging out, kind of reset and go back into the movement. So I'm going to show you first without the plate. So we're laying on an incline bench just like this, chest down. And again, a nice slow control motion. We're going to have the thumbs up to the sky, chin tucked, driving up, pulling those shoulder blades back and down. We really don't want to feel it up in the traps. It should be between the scaps here. So we're going to go up, squeeze, hold for a couple seconds, and then down. Up, squeeze, and then down. And like I said, you can add plates to this to add a little bit more resistance. So we can grab just like this. Again, thumbs are up. Driving up, squeeze at the top, right back down. This is your second accessory lift on day 3. This will be our bird dog KB or kettlebell row. So the first most important part of this exercise is getting into the correct bird dog position. So what that's going to look like, at least on this side, when we're pulling and rowing with our left hand up on the bench, one leg back and the other one off the bench, just like this. Trying to maintain a good angle from your shoulder to your hip in a nice straight line, not arcing the back, staying in that pelvic tilt, making sure that leg is in a nice straight line, and not letting your hips rotate left to right. So they should be a nice straight line. Then we're going to grab our KB, and in that same position, we're going to drive up, drop down, drive up, drop down. So like I said, the most important part is maintaining the correct posture and position throughout the movement and as we row.